Since we only have one day left before the Tropicana closes, after 67 years of operation, because we're going to have to get a baseball diamond. Don't even get me started on that. I figured we should talk a little bit about the history of the Tropicana. So the Tropicana was built in it was opened in 1957. One day in April was the soft opening, and it was only for locals to come in. And then a few weeks later, it opened officially. There's a shot of it, and yeah, we all need a showgirl show picture in front of the pool. Now, when it operated, there was still questionable whether it had mob ties. But Frank Costello, known as the Prime Minister, because he was kind of a distinguished dude who worked for Lucky Luciano and the Genoveses and those kinds of things, he fell to a failed assassination attempt. And while he was in the hospital, a note was found on him for the earnings from the Tropicana. And so that's when it became apparent that, in fact, the Tropicana was, in fact, hooked up with mob money. Doy. Now, the Tropicana had lots of great acts that played there as well. People like Eddie Fisher and Count Basie and Stan Kenton, and a lot of live albums were recorded there because of this. It also, in 1959, Folies Bergère, which was one of the longest running showgirl shows in town, it has closed, obviously, but it was opened in 1959, and it was because the Stardust had opened the Lido de Paris like a couple years earlier, and they wanted to get in on it. It was a swinging place in the 50s and the 60s. It kind of started to decline in the 70s, though, and then it just went downhill from there. It's still a great place, and it's still got that vintage vibe. But, so in the 70s, it was starting to decline basically because it was competing with places like Caesars and the Hilton. In 1978, the Tropicana was connected to the Skim. It was part of the FBI's attempt to stop and clean up the city. We'll talk about that another time if it actually worked. But Joe Augusto, who was the owner of the Folies Bergère show, was in fact the person who oversaw the Skim, and that's kind of how they caught them. So in 1999 to about 2005, it was host to what was known as the Casino Hall of Fame, or the Casino Legends Hall of Fame, which was kind of a cool museum. And then Bodies took over and some other stuff. And then in 2011 to 2013, we had what was known as the Mob attraction, which had live actors playing Bugsy and Lucky and all those kinds of people. And that was kind of a precursor to the Mob Museum. And then in 2013, it closed down. Now, some very kind of fun, cool facts that I enjoy. In 1961, the Tropicana Country Club was opened, and it operated until 1989 when it was sold to MGM, and it was torn down and bulldozed and became the MGM Grand that is there now, and what became the theme park, which is no longer there now. Some other neat things. In 1988, Robbie Knievel, the son of Evel Knievel, jumped over 30 limousines that were in front of the Tropicana. The Vegas scene in The Godfather was filmed at the Tropicana. It is featured in the Viva Las Vegas movie with Elvis Presley and Anne Margaret. And for anybody who's ever watched the TV show Angel, which was the spinoff of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, there is a Las Vegas themed episode in there, and it was actually filmed at the Tropicana as well. Now, one sad thing that some of us locals don't really want to see the Tropicana imploded, but we're not going to be able to stop it. It's going to happen. One of the saddest parts, though, is there is a beautiful $4 million stained glass arch dome that goes over the main part of the casino. And it had been there since 1979, and it took a whole year for people to create it, for the workmen to get it up and in. That has not been able to be taken out. They're going to work on trying to dismantle it and remove it and put it somewhere, whether somewhere in the valley and someplace else or in storage, we don't know. But they have not been able to figure out what they're going to do with it, or if they're going to be able to get it down or be able to incorporate it into the new A's baseball stadium that's going in the spot. Locals are hoping that when they implode the casino, which they will most likely do, because that's what we do, is we implode our shit. When they implode it, that they will have been able to take this stained glass out, this 45-year-old stained glass out, and not have it get destroyed in the implosion. But there are no guarantees. So we don't really know what's going to happen to that particular stained glass thing. So if you have a chance, go Google it. You'll see it. It's very beautiful. It was installed in 1979. So there's a little bit about the Tropicana, since we're going to say bye-bye to a Las Vegas legend officially tomorrow. If you guys want to hear more about Las Vegas history or specific places, drop me a comment and I will do a video for you.